According to a May 2020 report from the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics, over 11 million people are employed in the food service industry in the U.S. alone. With such a massive number of people working in this industry, one would assume that these workers, from chefs to waitresses, bussers, and more, would be treated fairly by their bosses and customers. However, many industry workers are left feeling exhausted and mistreated because people take advantage of these employees and their job descriptions to serve others. I was lucky enough to sit down with the current waitress, Sydney Fisher, as she recounts the good and bad experiences that she has faced as a food service employee.
Hey, Sydney, thank you for joining me today. So can you just kind of introduce yourself, how old you are, where you live, and what you currently do?
My name is Sydney. I am a waitress in the Greensboro area.
Okay, great. And how old are you?
Oh, 23.
Okay, great. And you live in Greensboro as well?
Yes.
Okay, so can you kind of tell us about when you started waitressing and where you've waitressed in the past? You don't have to say restaurant, but city-wise.
Yeah, so I went to college in Pittsburgh, and so to make some extra cash, pay for rent and all that, I worked in the Pittsburgh area, and then when I moved down here, I started waitressing here in Greensboro.
Okay, and do you see yourself continuing waitressing for a while, or do you think it's just something you're temporarily doing?
Definitely short term.
Yeah.
It's not a long term thing, but it is really good, at least for like short term, making like quick cash and good hours. I like it.
Yeah. And so what good experiences have you had waitressing? Have you had people who are extremely kind to you as a waitress and don't kind of treat you badly?
For sure. I definitely noticed like the Southern hospitality down south. There's a lot more I don't know how to describe it, just like general kindness and like when greeting. I also like work at a nicer restaurant, so like people tend to go for like a nicer experience. So I do have good customers that tip well most of the time.
Yeah. And can you kind of get into some of the bad experience that you've had in waitressing?
Yeah, so I've worked in like a cheaper, faster pace, like not fast food, but like not like formal dining. And like we did a lot of to-go orders, and you can tell when people haven't worked in like a food industry and they expect to like have their food ready right away. When like something gets delivered wrong, like people are very rude. They expect like everything to be perfect all the time, but they also don't respond well whenever something isn't right, even though we're fully willing to fix it. But that's not like I've also had in a like it down south while working in like the nicer restaurant. I've had people who just like haven't left me a tip. But I haven't had any screaming customers yet, so that's good.
Yeah, that is good. Can I ask you, when you work off of mostly tip-based, like, so how big of an impact is it when people don't leave a tip?
So I don't think people realize that when you don't leave a tip, a lot of times like you lose money from that table, because servers and waitresses, they have money that's taken out of their like total tip that go to the runners or go to the bar or to bussers. So like there's a percentage that of my tips that I make that like automatically get taken out before I even see it. And so if you don't leave a tip, like they're going off of the total, the net like income that I made for like that table. So if I made $50 worth of food, or I sold $50 worth of food, like they're gonna take a percentage from that $50, assuming that I made a tip. Like, and so I'm gonna get money taken away from that table that didn't leave me anything.
Gotcha. And when you work on a shift and people are rude to you, how does it make you feel the rest of the shift? Is it kind of hard to bounce back and everything when you experience this?
Definitely it affects, at least for the time being, like however long that table's there. Like say they're dining there for an hour, like that whole hour you're a little on edge, or like everything's off. Even when you go to your other tables and how you interact with the kitchen staff and other people that you're working with, it affects everything.
Yeah.
And like normally when I make a mistake, like my manager has to compensate for that in some way, whether it's like taking something off a bill or like going up to customers. And so like that takes time out of her day, and that slows down the kitchen, and it has like a whole cascade effect where
Yeah.
like other customers around might hear and feel uncomfortable by it, or like other servers are uncomfortable by it. It like
just leaves
it
a
has
weird
yeah, it has a whole effect on like the whole restaurant, honestly.
And outside of just customers, have you had difficulty with your management and stuff? Have they not treated you well in some previous places?
Honestly, no. I've always
Okay.
had really good managers, and how they get to managing is because like they have worked in that for a long time. Like they understand what kind of people they need to hire, how to work with like the people that they hire, and so I've always had really good experiences with managers. But that's not always true.
Yeah.
I mean, there's different dynamics even within like kitchen workers, hosts, and like servers. Like they're all different skill sets, so you need different kinds of people in all those positions. So there's always going to be some clash.
Yeah.
But like management wise, I've always had a good experience.
That's good. And if you could kind of tell people who tend to not be as friendly to wait staff, or even management that isn't as friendly to wait staff, kind of what kind of, I guess, advice would you tell people or say to them to help them know why they shouldn't be rude to servers?
I mean, like it doesn't affect like what food they're gonna get. Like nobody in my experience has ever like spit in food or like took longer on purpose getting the food out, but like you're gonna have to sit with that like uncomfortability of like being rude and like ruining someone else's day and potentially like more people around that, and like it sets the tone for like the rest of the shift. Like if I'm having like a really bad day, apart from like the customers, like whether I just like mix orders up or like drop a tray of drinks, like it's already like obviously affecting other things. And so then like when someone is like clearly not understanding about how their like actions and their words are affecting people, it definitely affects everyone.
Yeah.
Through Sydney sharing her experiences with us, I hope you've all been able to understand the struggles and challenges faced by food service employees on a daily basis. However, we can ease these challenges for them as future customers and employers by showing them a bit more understanding and kindness in our daily interactions with them. By putting ourselves into their shoes and imagining how we, as food service employees, would want to be treated, we can better know how to communicate with them in the future. I hope you all have enjoyed this video, and we look forward to you enjoying the rest of the content in our Empathy Museum. For Empathic Communication in a Digital World, I'm Shannon Cox. Thank you so much.